Hello, welcome back, and as always, I hope you're doing well. Right, before I get started today, guys, I want to give a huge shout out to Stuart Myers. Stuart has actually contacted Mark Owens. As we all know, Mark has been after a legitimate Kung Fu suit from back in the day. He wanted a Fist of Fury one. He's got one very, very close indeed, and he's very happy with it. So Stuart, thank you very much, mate. Mark's a happy guy. A couple of months ago, I got a comment from Broke Brad 1, and he said this: "Hey Stripey, I've never seen a Brucelee channel do a video on why Betty Ting Pei took hours to call an ambulance. If you can't wake someone up, you should check to see if they're breathing. If you call your personal doctor to come over because you can't wake your friend up, why doesn't the doctor ask to check if he's breathing or not? And if he's not, then why didn't he tell her to call an ambulance? None of this makes sense. He is dead because she waited too long to call an ambulance. Maybe you could do a video sometime to explain this, or have a guest who knows these answers. Would be a great video. Thanks." The Betty Ting Pei video. Let's get into it. On July 20th, 1973, a tragic and mysterious event occurred at the apartment of Taiwanese actress Betty Ting Pei in Hong Kong, which would go on to be one of the most talked about moments in film and pop culture history: the sudden death of Brucelee. Here's what transpired that day based on public available records, witness statements and subsequent investigations. Background context. Brucelee was at the height of his fame in 1973. He had completed filming Enter the Dragon, which would become a landmark martial arts film. At the time of his death, he was working on his next movie project, Game of Death. He had been experiencing health issues earlier that year, including a collapse on May 10th, which doctors diagnosed as cerebral edema, swelling of the brain. The events of July 20th, 1973, afternoon planning and meetings. On the afternoon of July 20th, Brucelee met with producer Raywongchi, head of Golden Harvest, to discuss details of Game of Death. They later visited the apartment of Betty Ting Pei, a Taiwanese actress who was also to be cast in the film. Chow later stated that Lee was in good spirits during the meeting. He and Lee reportedly discussed the film for a few hours at Ting's apartment, which was located at 67 Beacon Hill Road, Kowloon Tong, Hong Kong. Early evening, headache and nap. At approximately 7:30 p.m, Lee reported experiencing a headache. Betty Ting Pei gave him a prescription painkiller called Aquagesic, a combination of aspirin and the tranquilizer Meprobamate. After taking the tablet, Bruce reportedly laid down in Betty's bedroom to rest and never regained consciousness. Later that evening, an attempt to revive him. When Lee didn't wake up after a couple of hours, Ting became concerned and paged Raywongchi, who returned to the apartment. They then summoned a doctor, and Bruce was then transported by ambulance to Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Despite attempts to resuscitate him, Brucelee was pronounced dead on arrival at 11:30 p.m. at the age of 32. Autopsy and cause of death. The autopsy revealed no external injuries. The initial finding was cerebral edema. His brain had swollen 13%. The official cause of death was recorded as death by misadventure due to an allergic reaction to Meprobamate, one of the components in Aquagesic. This meant that the reaction was considered unexpected and not due to foul play. Aftermath. Brucelee's funeral was held in Hong Kong, attended by thousands. A second ceremony was held in Seattle, where he was buried at Lakeview Cemetery. Betty Ting Pei faced intense media scrutiny and public suspicion for many years. She gave several interviews over the decades, maintaining that she did nothing wrong and simply tried to help Bruce. In late years, she later claimed in a 2006 interview and subsequent book that Bruce died in her bed, not in the hospital as initially reported. This appeared to align with what many already believed, unofficially. Legacy. Brucelee's death marked the end of a brief but incredibly influential career. His sudden passing at such a young age cemented his iconic status and contributed to the mythology that surrounds him.
Enter the Dragon was released posthumously just a month after his death, and he became an enduring cultural symbol.
So, let's get to Brad's question. Why did Betty Ting Pei take so long to call emergency services or an ambulance? Possible reasons. 1. Fear of scandal.
Brucelee was married to Linda Lee, and his being at Betty Ting Pei's apartment could spark a personal and professional scandal. Betty may have feared the consequences for herself and Lee if it became public knowledge that he died in her home. There may have been an attempt to manage or cover up the circumstances before medical help was called.
2. Unawareness of the severity of Bruce.
Betty has claimed in interviews that she thought Brucelee was just sleeping deeply, possibly under the influence of the medication. She said she didn't realise anything was seriously wrong until much later when she couldn't wake him up. If true, this would suggest there was no immediate recognition of a medical emergency.
3. The deference to Raymond Chow.
Betty called Chow first, possibly hoping he could handle the situation discreetly. Chow is not only Bruce's producer, but also a powerful figure in the Hong Kong film industry. His involvement may reflect an attempt to control the narrative or delay involving outside authorities until absolutely necessary.
4.
Protecting Bruce's reputation. Given Lee's fame, any controversy could have exploded in the press. Both Betty and Chow might have hoped to minimise public fallout, especially since Enter the Dragon was about to be released worldwide.
Statements by Betty Ting Pei.
Over the years, Betty has made several adjustments to her account. Some key points. In a 2006 interview, she claimed that Bruce died in her bed, not at the hospital, which was a contradiction of earlier reports. She admitted that she panicked and called Chow first instead of emergency services. She has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing, insisting she did what she thought was right at the time.
Criticism and speculation.
Critics have argued that precious time was lost, and if Betty had called an ambulance immediately, Lee might have survived. This delay has fueled decades of conspiracy theories ranging from accidental overdose to cover-ups and even foul play. However, medical experts say that if the cerebral edema had developed quickly, Bruce may not have survived regardless of timing.
Conclusion. Why there's no definitive answer why Betty Ting Pei didn't call an ambulance straight away, I think it was probably a combination of panic of fear and scandal, misjudgment of the situation, a desire to protect Brucelee's reputation, and obviously her own, and possible pressure to handle the matter privately, hush hush. This hesitation has remained one of the central questions in the mystery of Brucelee's sad passing, and continues to cast a shadow over the official narrative. So, what are your thoughts on this? Why do you think Betty Ting Pei didn't call an ambulance immediately when she realised Brucelee was unresponsive? Drop them in the comments down below. Right, I hope that answered your question, Brad. No one knows for certain, only Betty. I think it was a combination of things. People have said that Bruce was probably already dead by the time she tried to wake him up. There's all sorts, but no one knows. As John Little quite rightly said when I spoke to him, what happened that night is still pretty murky. I mean, Betty's come out recently saying she did nothing wrong, and if anyone, blamed the tablet. And obviously doctors are now talking about the reason why Bruce might have died was epilepsy. Who knows for sure? Right, that's it. With that, I'm going to love you and leave you. Have yourselves an amazing rest of the week, guys. Much love. And I'll be back with another ramble real soon. You take care of yourselves now.